Thank you so much. Girls, I'm really scared to be up here. You look good. Good evening. I'm so happy to be here. It's an honor for me to be here. The last time I was here, I looked just a little bit different, and so let me reintroduce myself to you. But I want to start off by talking about this, and Pastor Debbie, as you were talking, I promise you we did not compare notes. I haven't even told you what I'm going to say yet, but I'm just, wow. When you see the word health, what does it look like to you in real life? What does the word whole health mean to you? Can you actually feel healthy? Can you pick it out of the crowd? If you saw a skinny person, would you see the word health? Those are things I want you to think about. I am a literal walking, talking picture of that journey. As I prepared this evening for you this morning, as I was finalizing my thoughts, I decided I'm going to be really real and open with you. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
So pray me through it, please. So if I'm honest with you tonight, frankly, I would find it easier for me to give a better picture of the word unhealthy. That word I know. That word is safe. That word is very familiar to me. That word I lived for 25 years. So let me begin by introducing myself to you. Some of you I've met. I've had the privilege of meeting you. Some of you are brand new faces to me. I've done a lot of speaking around the nation, and there are two places that I told God I would not go. The first place was at my work. The second place was at my church. Last spring, I found myself at Grace College speaking to the faculty members. And in 2 weeks, I speak at Deputy Missionary, where I attend church, and here I am in front of you ladies tonight, literally terrified. There's something about speaking. I introduced Rand Paul one time into a stadium at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. I was not nervous. I am terrified tonight. So there's something about being with your own people that just makes you nervous. My name is Monica Boyer. I am the wife of Brian, the wife of Brian for 25 years. We have 4 children. Our oldest just got married this summer to Andrea. She's a beautiful daughter-in-law. I could not have asked for a better one if I picked her myself, but don't tell my son that. Sarah is here with me tonight. She's my youngest. Sarah. She goes to the high school. She's a sophomore in the marching band. And I'm a caretaker of 2 Great Danes, a little pipsqueak Shih Tzu, and for some reason I saw a parakeet in the house the other day. I don't know how it got there, but there is a parakeet in our house now. So I'm a zookeeper. I was a lobbyist for about 15 years, both on a state level and a national level. So I worked to pass pro-life laws at the state level and at the national level, and standing up for our family liberties. I was a woman. Some of you may understand what I mean when I say this. I was a woman working in a man's world. You know what I mean when I say that? I was a conservative in a liberal world, and I became a very, very hard, bitter woman. I was advised by my mentor, Jackie Walorski, never show weakness in public as a woman working in a man's world. So I could not cry. I had to be tough. And if you have seen how the media treats conservatives, you know exactly what I walked through. Be strong and never cry was my motto. So I became someone I didn't like. I was fighting for the right thing, but it was costing me my life. It was costing me my health. At my highest, I weighed over 250 pounds. I am so thankful that God can use us in spite of ourselves, because He did. We did some amazing, amazing things through those years. However, I was slowly killing myself, both body, mind, and spirit. I think in a very sick way, I found safety in the world of obesity. I found safety in the pain. I found safety in the anxiety and depression. The harder those things hit me, the more impact I was making, right? The angrier I became, the more impact I must be making in public policy. The harder they hit me in the media, the harder I would work, and the more I would fight back, and the bigger I would become, literally. Is it weird to say that I leaned on those things in those uncomfortable years like a security blanket? Because I did. If I lived as an obese woman, I didn't have to get up early in the morning and push my body with lung-cleansing health. If I lived with a cloud of depression over my head, I didn't have to worry about being happy. Or for that matter, being real with myself or others. Depression was my crutch. It was normal, and it was my life. If I lived with high blood pressure in my pre-diabetic state, I wouldn't have to push myself to get off the couch, because there's medicine for all that, right? If I lived with anxiety, I had 1,000,001 excuses on why I didn't have to make myself a better person. I could be angry and bitter with absolutely no consequences. For everything you asked me to do, eat better, study God's word, exercise, I had an excuse for why I couldn't do it. Now, I'm going to stop here, because before I continue, dear sisters, I want you to hear something, and I want you to hear it very loudly. I know that there are medical reasons for mental illness. I know that there are medical issues that only Jesus and medicine can fix. Amen. There is absolutely no shame in that. I'm here today just to tell you my story, and if a beautiful miracle takes place, to give you hope. Yes. I want you to grab onto hope tonight. Yes. You see, I was the poster girl for no hope. And if I can, let me share it with you. We as humans have become accustomed to living excuse to excuse, and I became very lazy. My excuses led my life. I even used physical pain as a band-aid and a crutch. Pain was comfortable to me. We became friends. Sickness was my escape. Depression was a way of life. If I smile, I must be weak, right? Obesity was a cover to the emotions that I didn't want to deal with. And let me tell you, I had enough to cover a whole year's worth. Yes, it was really that bad. It wasn't until I faced those demons head on that healing began to come into my life. In fact, it happened so fast I was not prepared for it. Even now, as I stand before you today, I can still close my eyes and walk into that very dark past that molded me into a very unhealthy woman. Let me take you there for just a minute, and then we're going to leave really quick. I don't want to stay there. I hated pictures I saw of myself. When I see those in my memories on Facebook, I can't breathe. Sometimes I can't breathe seeing them. The pictures that I knew deep down that the pictures that showed on the outside was only an inkling of what was going on inside that woman with my health. I knew I had stroke-level blood pressure, but I refused to go to the doctor to find out what was going on. A flashlight on my health would show another failure in my life as a woman. I knew I needed to. Several people tried to intervene in my life, and I ignored them. In fact, got pretty angry with them when they told me that my children wouldn't have a mother if I continued with my life the way I was going. Who did they think they were? My pain was comfortable. My pain was reliable in an unreliable world. Obesity hid me from what was bleeding on the inside. I would never be enough. I came to the conclusion that I was okay with that. So the harder it hit me, the harder I hit back, and the tougher I got. I raised my children by the grace of God. I pushed through the depression, keeping my life busier and busier so I wouldn't hurt. I refused to step on the scale the day I saw 250 pounds. I comforted myself with dark clothing. Now that said, who does not like black slimming clothing? I still love black. It was a tough exterior, and it was a layer of anger that not a soul in the world could pierce. There is a wall around the outside of me that I am still working on breaking down because I needed to protect myself. I refused to let anyone see the real Monica. I refused to seek help. Instead, I dug my heels in and I got tougher and meaner so no one could see my insides falling apart. That was a comfort to me. Pain was a comfort. Pain became my friend because it was the only thing I knew would not let me down. So I clung to it. I was very effective in my policy work because I had nothing to lose. I could say anything I wanted. I remember one day coming home and reading a piece of hate mail that had come in. I didn't know it at the time, but my son was standing over my shoulder. "You whore, you obese whale, I hope you die. I hope your sons are gay," and it went on. You see, until then, I had hid that stuff from everyone. I hid all of the police department visits, reporting the death threats and the daily hate mails. I carried it all by myself. That day it was exposed, and I saw fear for the first time in my son's life. But you see, that's all I knew. Pain was my comfort, pain was my friend, pain was my peace, pain was my excuse. Is anybody relating, or is it just me? I sank into a depression that I could tell no one about. I knew I was obese. I knew I couldn't breathe when just walking down the street. I didn't know what to do about it. I saw no hope on the horizon. If you saw my checkbook, you saw it written to Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, laxative, and yes, laxatives. I tried it all. I was bound to this way of life, so I thought. There was not a moment that I did not feel the extra weight on my body or think about how ugly I was, or so I thought. There was not a moment I didn't believe everyone was looking around me, grotesque with grotesque eyes. Guys, I told you I was going to be wrong. There was not a moment I didn't hate myself for who I was. You see, my problem was much more than obesity. My problem was I was very sick, body, mind, and spirit. My body was dying. I had allowed my insulin to go out of control, became insulin resistant. I allowed sugars to reach outlandish levels. My blood pressure was at stroke level. In fact, the doctor followed me out to my van and said, "If you come back here again, you'll be admitted to the hospital with blood pressure like that." I was obese and my mind was dead to the world. Now, mind you, this is all while I was in the media. This is all. I could fake it till the cows came home. I could pretend I was happy, and I pretended like I had everything going on for me in the world, but when I closed my bedroom door at night, I cried. And I fell hard. I could pretend, my spirit was dying. I lost my joy, I lost my peace, I lost my song, and worst of all, I lost Jesus in the process. Now, I am beyond grateful He did not lose me. Amen. I was dying and I didn't know it. The outward obesity was just a picture of what was happening on the inside. Oh, but let me tell you about the goodness of God. Amen. Can I hear you say that? Got to get out of this last word. Let me tell you about His healing power. Let me tell you about second Jesus. Amen. This is the good part. And frankly, it's the most difficult thing for me to talk about. Healing and walking in freedom. Can I tell you about this freedom? Yes. This is a new concept for me. It still is a new concept for me. It's uncharted waters. Rediscovering and allowing myself to be replanted has been the hardest thing I have ever done. You see, it happened very unexpectedly one day, but it's the truth. Here's how it went down. I remember sitting at the dining room table with my oldest son, Tony. He's 22. He was getting married at the time, and he asked my husband and I to go to Cedar Point, the amusement park. He asked us to go to Cedar Point with him. And what parent wouldn't be ecstatic that their 22-year-old son wanted to hang with them? I was that parent. I froze. I literally froze. You see, instantly, a movie played in the back of my mind. If you can imagine, if you've been to Cedar Point, play it with me. I pictured in my mind the 3-hour curlicue waiting line to get on the roller coaster and having a high school kid look at me and say, ma'am, you're gonna have to, you're too big for the rides. That's what I played in my mind. I could see it all played out in front of me. This was during that moment of, what do I tell him? So I lied to Tony. I said, oh, we can't afford to go to Cedar Point. Now, in all honesty, have you ever seen the prices of a Cedar Point ticket? So I wasn't too far off. The fact of the matter is, I had let myself reach a weight that I was too big for the rides. That's why I couldn't be a mom that my son needed me to be at the time. And my world stood still at that moment. When I close my eyes, I can still picture the toast crumbs that were on the table that day. That was the time my world stood still. And that was the time I knew things had to change. That was my moment when God took my hand and said, will you trust me with your life? Your entire life, your body, will you surrender? And I said, I would have made a really good lawyer, because I said, I've done everything. I trust you, of course I trust you, but I've done everything, I can't. The problem was I had already tried to get healthy. I had already been there, done that, and I'm not doing it again because I don't want to fail again. I'm so tired of failing again. But I looked at my son and decided right there, God, as my witness, I am ready for help. I will try one more time. A dear sister at my church, Renee, I'd been watching her. She had lost about 80 pounds at the time, and she said, will you let me help you just this one time? That day, June 12th, 2017, was the day I surrendered. I am thankful for God's patience, I'm thankful for his healing, and I'm thankful he doesn't give up on us. But you know what else? I'm thankful he didn't heal me all in one lump. Pastor Debbie talked about it for just a minute, and it was just amazing how these just go right hand in hand. He didn't heal me in one big lump. He did it in stages. He walked me through each stage and each leg and each moment, even to the very time I wrote what I was going to talk to you about tonight. Yes, I've lost over 100 pounds, 112 to be exact. And ladies, yes, I get to buy new clothes. I got to have my ring size. I get to wear my wedding ring again. Did I mention shopping? Ask my husband about that, because Pastor Debbie, we may need counseling. I don't want to bore you with the details on how I did it. I did it through the ketogenic way of living. Some people call it keto. It's a brand new, and actually it's an ancient way of eating. From day one, I loved how it made me feel. From the inside out, literally it healed me from the inside out. The science behind it is absolutely fascinating. And if I hadn't have lost a pound, I would be living this way for the rest of my life, simply because the depression is gone.
Thank you, Lord.
It is deep to the bone healing, is what it is. It's a bit of a learning curve on the front side, but it's as easy as breathing on the other side. In a nutshell, really quick, it is eliminating the sugars and carbs in your system that cause inflammation, which is the #1 cause of any disease that you have, inflammation. It eliminates the spike in your insulin and the cause of weight gain. In the presence of insulin, you cannot lose weight. So we keep our insulin down, we keep our sugar down. It's converting your operating system from burning sugar and carbs to burning your own body fat. Literally, you can go to bed at night and your body is eating its own fat. And ketones. I had never experienced this energy that I had before. Something happened to my body when I changed fuel sources and began feeding it what God made and God gave us. I loved it so much that I decided I wanted to help other women do the same thing, so I became a coach. And I have had the privilege and honor to coach hundreds of women who have lost nearly 5,000 pounds since January. Woo! Incredible. Some of you are in here now. I found a deep burning passion to walk with women who, like me, had lost their identity. Women who have lost their song. It's a passion that wakes me up every morning to talk to my ladies every day. By the way, Brandy, this is Brandy, my assistant. Brandy has on the table on the outside, she has a sign-up sheet. I have a free keto cookbook that I created that I would be happy to email you. It's free. You just have to see Brandy and give her your email. The other ugly announcement that I have is my next session is November 25th. There's no place to put that in my testimony, so now you know. Okay. But my passion and my driving force is to watch women find their identity again. I would be happy to answer any questions about the ketogenic lifestyle. My passion is to talk to you about hope and pray that you grab onto hope. You see the outside now, but sister, if I could show you the inside, I could be a very rich woman. You see, God has taken the broken pieces of my life and mended them back together, body, mind, and spirit. It's been a process of healing. It's been a lot of work. It doesn't just come and fall in our laps, ladies. We have to work for it. And you have to want it so bad that you're willing to do anything to get it. Anything. You have to have your enough moment. I remember 6 months into my journey, and I want to talk to you for just, this is very, very important. The second part of our being, the emotional side of our being. Something happened to me about 6 months into my journey. I lost all feelings. And everybody's journey is differently. This was just mine. I lost all feelings. I felt no pain, no depression, no fear, no happiness, no joy. I was a blank slate. And that, for me, I'm a bit emotional. I don't know. God created me an emotional being. And so that scared me. I was very, very scared. Like, God, did you leave me? What's going on? Remember, I was coming from a very, very angry place in my life. I'm used to feeling anger. That being said, I'm a type A girl. I depend on my feelings. I live by lists. Numbness was not on that list. And so I was very, very scared. I thought God had left me. I thought he abandoned me. People were beginning to see that the weight was coming off, but I felt nothing. I went to counseling thinking maybe I did something wrong with me. And then one day, oh sister, let me tell you about that day. I was at a Rhymed Collective concert and there was a song about joy, and I remember it was like being baptized with the Holy Spirit again, Pastor Debbie. It was like joy just dripped all over me. And I believe, I am not a theologian, you can correct me, I'm totally good with that, because I don't have any theological backing to this, but I think he just had to completely take the operating system, the fear, the condemnation, the darkness completely out before he could fill me again. He had to empty me. So the inside healing began that day. The weight loss seemed to be a piece of cake compared to this one. Honestly, girls, I would have rather not had a piece of bread for the rest of my life than have to go through the emotional healing that I went through. The emotional and the spiritual work. Guys, I was an angry woman. And when he filled me with joy, I didn't know what to do with it. I don't know how you lobby when you're not angry. I don't know what to do with this. I had learned to use pain like a crutch. I learned to use hurt as a weapon. I learned to use depression like a painkiller. It was normal and that was beautiful to me. And here I am dealing with joy now. As I was filled with this joy and I learned to live as a healthy woman, I noticed some unhealthy habits forming in my life at this time. Like being addicted to the scales. Like obsessing over tracking food. Brandy can back me up on that one. I would start to panic if I couldn't track my food. I noticed some things starting to creep into my life. And paranoia coming back of the past. I had a family member tell me at the beginning of my journey, oh, you'll just gain it all back. She lives in my head rent-free for all of these past 2 years. The old me started to creep in. Fear of failure, fear of not being enough. Clients now depend on me. If I gain an ounce, they're gonna know. They're gonna call me out and say, Michael, what's going on? And I didn't want to be a fake coach. If you have had me coach you, you know I'm real. I'm going to tell you how it is, right?
Yes.
Lots of fear started to creep in with me. Each time it came over me, I learned to counter it with the promises of God.
Amen.
I am so thankful for my pastor's teaching on default buttons. Where is your default button? Where is it set to? Where do you go the minute you feel fear, the minute you feel failure? I'm so thankful for that. The joy of the Lord truly is our strength. We were not created to be lemon-sucking Christians, ladies. We were not created that way. So I prayed for this as these dark things started to come over me, and I had lost 100 pounds. You would think I would be in my state of euphoria at this point. No, it was fear. We had to counter that. So, I told you tonight how good our God is. It's amazing. This morning, as I was writing the story, I got to tell you what happened. I went to a women's Bible study, and as the women were singing, I don't know what they were singing, it all faded away. And Jesus talked to me. He says, Monica, it's time for you to start living again. Broken, completely severed from the chains of fear that you have been going back to. Would you now live? I wasn't living in the joy of the Lord. I was living in fear. Would you live in your newfound freedom? Completely broken from the chains, not chained to fear. When I tell you that the weight was the easiest thing to lose, I'm telling you the truth, but I can also tell you this. I will never take on a client who is not willing to go through all 3 stages with me in healing. Anyone can be a coach. Jenny Craig's a great coach, I heard. But not everyone is willing to walk through those steps. And if you're not willing to walk through those steps, you're not ready. When you walk out of the valley and you find healing, there is no words to describe the color that you see. I see brand new colors for the first time in my life. If anything in my story today resonated with you, and it does not have to be physical, does not have to be physical weight I'm talking about. If anything resonated with you, can I leave you with this? Grab onto my hand and know and see that there is hope. I am living, breathing proof that there's hope for you. If you can't see it right now, if you can't see that right now, borrow some of mine. Borrow some of these ladies in the room who have gone through it. Grab hold of it and take it. The journey continues for me. It didn't stop when I hit my goal. Now I have different things that I'm working through. There is literally nothing that I'm learning to adapt into a new reality. Our marriage is learning to adapt to, my husband has a new woman living in his house. He does not know what to do with her. I'm telling you, he's confused. He's like, I don't know what to do. Because now I'm happy and now he can hug me. So when I say your life changes when you decide you want to live whole and healthy, truly, I literally mean it will touch everything in your life. Ladies, let me leave you with this. I want to tell you there's hope. You just gotta grab it. Amen. You just have to grab it. It's not gonna come fall in your lap. You have to work hard. It's hard. Now eating steak and eating those things with butter and bacon, those are really yummy. Really yummy. But there's hope. Thank you so much for letting me come.